Here it is. Let's make pumpkins.
I like to make these 4 sizes. I use the same pattern for all of them. It depends on how many you chain to get the different sizes. So I will give you all of that information. For today, we are going to make the medium. So I've got my tiny, my small, my medium, and my large. So we're gonna make the medium pumpkin today. I use Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. This is not an ad. This is just the yarn that I use to make all of my pumpkins. And the color that I'm using today is Spice. So pretty. I love it. Okay, I have my yarn. I have my 7mm crochet hook. Here are the skills that you need to make this pumpkin. You'll need to know how to make a slip knot, how to chain, how to do the single crochet stitch and the half double crochet stitch. I am going to work slowly through this, but if you have any questions about any of those skills, check my IGTV because I've posted a lot of basic crochet skills. And if you don't see something there, then head over to YouTube. And I will always tell you like the word to search, like slip knot, crochet, and type that into YouTube and you can find it. So I want to get through the whole pumpkin and show you how I seam it and stuff it and everything. So I won't be breaking down each thing like 100%. Okay. All right. So let's do it. No more talking. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make a slip knot. Put it on my hook. Okay, for the medium pumpkin, you are going to chain 16. Actually, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and write this down? Ready? I'll wait. You are going to chain 16. You are going to do 14 half double crochets, and you are going to do 16 rows. When you are done, your piece will be approximately 6 inches by 10 inches. Okay, chain 16, 14 half double crochet for 16 rows, giving you about 6 by 10. So, for all my advanced crocheters out there, I want to give you that information now because I'm going to take my time through all of this. All right, let's do it. So we are going to chain 16. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, you have your chain for your medium-sized pumpkin. You are going to work the first stitch, which is a half double crochet stitch, into the third chain from the hook. What does that mean? Ignore what's on your hook, and you are going to count the stitches that are moving away from the hook. So 1, 2, 3. So you are going to do the half double crochet stitch into this third chain. So you wrap it one time, double check 1, 2, 3. There you go. Go through and grab the yarn. Okay, you will have 3 loops on your hook. Bring the yarn over and pull it through all 3. Yay! That's your first stitch. Okay, so for this first row, you're going to do half double crochets into all of the rest of the chains. I'm so into all of these fall colors right now. and I'm making this video on my patio, and it's like 99 degrees. It looks like fall up in here, and it does not feel like it. Okay, almost there. I am like hugging my phone. I have my arms wrapped around it. I am not a professional tutorial maker, guys. Okay. If you could see the awkward position my body's in. Okay, so this is my first chain. There are a lot of times as a crocheter that I do not work into that first chain, but for these pumpkins, I am. So I'm going into that first guy. Sometimes you don't, but okay, that's the first row. So what that ended up being was 14 stitches. So here's your first guy right here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Count. That is what you should have. You're at the end of the row. At the end of every row, you're going to chain 2. Typically for this, I think you would chain 1. Again, I am not a professional crochet teacher. I might be breaking a crochet rule right now, but this is what I'm doing. I like having the extra loops when I'm sewing the pumpkin together. So chain 2, flip it around. You should have your hook in your hand and your work going the other direction. That's how you know, right? I'm at the end of the row, so I'm going to flip it. You've worked your way to the end. Okay, so now when we look for row 2, here you go. This is the big exciting pattern. It's really simple, guys. You're going to ignore the 2 turning chains. You're not going to work into those at all this whole time. So see your stitch, that little loop right there. You're going to do a half double crochet. So it's 1, 2, right? Ignoring those 2 into the back loop only. Just want to show you what you would typically do. Typically, when you're crocheting, you work under both of those loops. You'll see that little loop, right? You would work your stitches there. We're going to work through the back loop. Okay, so I got to wrap because I'm doing a half double crochet, and I'm going into the back loop, grab my yarn. I have 3 loops on my hook, and I'm going to pull through all 3. So you're going to wrap, back loop only. So the little secret that's really not a secret is that all of these pumpkins are really just forms of ribbing in crochet. So you could look up all different ribbing patterns, just Google crochet ribbing, and you could make pumpkins that like look like a dozen pumpkins that are a different ribbing pattern. So this is just a basic half double crochet ribbing pattern. Okay. So when you work your way down here, you are going to have 14 stitches again. Let's take a look at how it's looking. Loop only. Okay, this is the end of row 2. So you're going to chain 2 at the end of every row. 1, 2, turn. Okay, we are going to do it again. Look at the top, see your stitches, ignore your 2 turning chains, and you're going to work into this first stitch, back loop only. Wrap, back loop only. Okay, so I'm going to get to the end of the row. You're going to chain 2, you're going to turn, and you're going to work into the back loop only. And you're just going to repeat that for the whole piece until we have 16 rows. There you go. I've got to the end of the row. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, turn my work. It's looking like ribbing. You ignore those 2 turning chains. You're going to work into that back loop only, wrap, back loop only. Okay, I will meet you at 16 rows. So just keep going back and forth. I will show you how to count the rows too. I love this color so much. Okay, so taking a look at the bottom piece, so there is there is a right side to the fabric, and there is a wrong side to the fabric. So if you are a beginner and you're a little unsure of which side is the right side or the wrong side, I'm going to tell you, your little starting tail should be to the left. So lay your piece down right now. This should be to the left, and your current stitch should be up here to the right. I like to have these visuals, so when I'm working, like I was about to stop, I thought I was at 16 rows, but my yarn was over here, and I was like, oh no, they're on opposite corners. Okay, so let's count the rows. I'm looking at the right side of my fabric. This right here, this is 1 row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I also, with this ribbing pattern, you can do like, see this raised ridge? You know that there's 2 in between. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. It seems like crazy to spend much time on it, but counting rows is kind of difficult. It takes a little while to feel confident in what you should be counting. So that's a row, that's a row, that's a row, that's a row. Okay, all right, so we have 16 rows. Also, it's a pumpkin. No one's gonna know. You don't have to do the exact amount of rows. Okay, but here we go. So 16 rows. We are ready to seam this together. So we are going to, I'm doing right sides facing. What does that mean? That means that when you fold the fabric, the right sides are touching each other. Right sides facing. I've got my beginning tail at the bottom and my active yarn up top. Okay. Now, I'm just showing you what I do. Okay, this is how I am. This is from, I don't know that this is an exact science. This is how I do. Okay, so for the very first stitch, I'm just kind of picking a corner. Like I'm just stabbing it in here. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to bring it through. This is a slip stitch. I just want to attach the top edges. So I'm not, I just, whatever little piece that's on that corner that looks good, I do it. So now the 2 sides are together. Turn it. Because I need to be working right to left. So let's see here. We are going to go, let's go under this. So see, little stitch right there. You're going to go under, and then look at the other piece. Move this out of the way. You see that first stitch? Go under both loops. See? Attached. Okay. I'm going to grab it. All right, hold on. There we go. Okay. Pull it through, and then take that and pull it through. So that is a slip stitch. So now you're gonna go, so we just went under this guy. You're gonna go under here, right here, and then see the next loop. Bring it through and bring that through. Go into the next one. It's actually kind of like really satisfying when they line up. Under here, next loop, grab. So we are slip stitching these together. Grab it, pull it through, go in here, underneath both. So it doesn't matter exactly where you go. Here's what does matter. If you grab only one strand of something and then you sew it together, when we flip it inside out, there's going to be a hole. So anytime I'm seaming anything together, like I want to avoid that. And you avoid that by going under like a decent chunk. So there's 2 strands. So I know, where am I at? Go under here, grab, oh. So I know I've like kind of gone in there and there's a secure amount. I'm not just gonna have like one little string that's gonna look like a hole later. Okay, getting there. Move that string out of the way, get the last corner. Yay! It's together. Okay. Chain 1 just to lock it in and then turn it right side out. And then stop holding your breath. Looks so good. We almost have a pumpkin. There are a couple ways that you can like close off the ends of your pumpkin. I'm going to show you my favorite way, and that is with a single crochet closure. Okay, so we've got this tail, first of all, to deal with. I'm just stuffing them in and pushing them out of the way. And actually don't really do anything with him because it's going to get locked into the pumpkin. Okay, so you are going to do single crochet stitches around the top. Let's see. I like to work in here, so like in here. You're going to go through it single crochet so we don't have to wrap. Grab it, pull it through. It's not the slip stitch, so don't just keep going like with our seaming. Gonna wrap and pull it through. Okay, so I do about every other row. If you do every row, well, you'll see it wouldn't work. You want to go every other row because you're gonna pinch it together. Okay, so ignore this, go in here. Ooh, wait, see, I got one strand. And when I pull that tight later, that is not gonna look good. Get under the whole stitch, okay. Through, what is happening? I'm losing my mind. There we go. Okay, we're gonna ignore here and we're gonna go over here. Feels like a big jump, but it'll look really good. This is the bottom that we're seaming right now. This is like one of the ways I close off the top of hats. I really like. Okay, we're gonna skip here. This is the way I like to close off the top of hats too. Okay. Actually, this kind of looks like a little tiny baby hat when we're done. Skipping here, going into this. It's like the top of the ridge. Okay, wait, I just want you to see what's happening. See, we're getting this little line of stitches going around the top, and it's starting to pinch it together. Okay, I think maybe we have one more. See how this is looking. Oh, actually, so we just went to the top of that ridge. So we, yep, I am gonna go into the first single crochet stitch that we did, go under both loops, and you're going to slip stitch. Come through, bring that loop through. So we did not wrap. Oh, okay. All right. So now we need to cut a tail. I like to outstretch my arms as wide as I can and do that twice. That is, I feel like if I had, I would never lay it down and measure it with a measuring tape necessarily, but I feel like maybe like 100 inches, 120 inches of a tail I give myself, because we are going to use this extra long tail to make, let me show you, to wrap around and pull in the pumpkins and give them their pumpkin-y shape. Okay, so I've got a huge long tail. I slip stitched together. I'm going to close this up. Okay, now you're going to get out your yarn needle, your darning needle. This guy is next. Thread your darning needle, and then let's look at this top. So we have all of our little stitches we've made. I'm going to take this, I'm going to go under that front loop. We have a long tail. And then under that one. Gonna work your way around. Front loop. So as long as you're doing the exact same thing on each, then it will work. So I'm going from bottom to top through the front loop, that stitch. Okay. And pull it tight. Yay! Okay, so you pull it tight, and then I go back through. And this is, it does not have to be exact. You're just gonna kind of work your way around the circle again. I'm just going through some random loops just to make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and that's good. And then, hold on, I got so much tail. It's all closed off. That is the bottom of your pumpkin. So take the darning needle, work through the center, and bring it up through. Bring your whole tail up through. It's so cute. Let's stuff them. Right, I like to stretch it all out. Okay. I'm using polyfill. I do just a little handful at a time. You can actually make this size pumpkin and stuff him just a little bit, and then when you tighten him, he'll be like short, like a shorter height, or you can stuff him really tightly and he'll be more solid and taller. So you can get 2 different size pumpkins out of the same pattern. The only thing is I'm trying to make sure I don't stuff him so much that I'm seeing the white stuffing through it. This feels good to me. I like to kind of work it like you're making a bowl. I want the center to be kind of open because we're going to be working through that quite a bit. Okay, you are ready to seam the top. I have a couple weird things that I do when I'm working the top of the pumpkin. Okay, first of all, I feel around to find where I seamed it together. Okay, so I like to start where I seamed it together. So I have the strand that I pulled up from the bottom. Okay, this like makes no sense. All right, but this is what I like to do. I hesitated telling you, but we're just gonna do it. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do to make my pumpkins. So I have the strand coming up from the bottom. I don't want to pull yet. Okay, so it's like nice and loose. Okay, here's my spot where I seamed. I go back and forth through here. I'm just laughing because I know that like all of my advanced crocheters right now are going, what are you doing? What are you doing, Em? Okay, I'm keeping this nice and loose. And I'm gonna go through again. I'm locking it into place here. I just want to be in control of how I shape the pumpkin. And so for me, this helps me. Okay, so that strand I'm working up from the bottom is nice and loose and it's kind of locked into place here. I even gave it a little slack, which you're never going to see because it's inside the pumpkin. Okay, let's seam it together. So I had mentioned with the bottom that there are different ways to close up a hat or the pumpkin. One was the single crochet, which we did on the bottom, and on the top, we're just going to seam it together. If you like using the needle, you can do that for the top and bottom of your pumpkins. Okay, so here we go. We're starting at the beginning. Same thing applies. We're sewing this together. Don't just grab one loop. When you pull it all tight, it's not going to look good. Let's see, I'm trying to get over to there, but I need something to start. I'm gonna go here. See if I like. So I'm going front to back. And the same thing, when you're working your way around a circle, make sure that you do like front to back. You do the same thing with each stitch. Yeah, I like the way that looks. I'm gonna skip right here and I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna go front to back. Doing that same direction every time is what helps when you pull it closed for it to like go nicely. Okay, so I'm gonna skip here and I'm gonna go here. See where I am. Going through 2 loops. Come over. I want to see. I always like to double check when it's pulling tight. Is that going to look nice? Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to keep doing this. front to back. Skipping here, do this here, front to back. So no matter what size pumpkin you make, all of this is exactly the same. I like to make this size first because you have like a little bit to work with. You would think making the little tiny guy first, you know, might be easier, but sometimes it's a little bit harder when you're working with a tiny piece. So this is, for me, like a good first pumpkin. I made like 5 of them and felt like I had like the seaming down, and I figured out like all the ways I liked to work around the cinnamon stick, and like I worked it all out, and then I started exploring other sizes. Am I back to the beginning? Almost. One more. And then I'm going to grab a cinnamon stick. So I'm going to pull it tight, not completely closed. Oh my goodness, so cute. Got some polyfill going crazy. Okay, let's see. I'm going to steal a cinnamon stick from one of my other pumpkins right here. Okay, let's talk about the cinnamon stick. Actually, if you go to Target, this is not an ad, I got like a huge container of cinnamon sticks last week, and they're like glorious and big and look like they're used for decoration, but they're just normal cinnamon sticks. So I cut them in half, and I do not, you can, if you want right now, you could put a little bit of hot glue in there and glue your cinnamon stick in. But I like to change them out because I like having the fresh cinnamon smell. So like every season when I bring out like my decorations and stuff, I put a fresh cinnamon stick in there. So that's why I don't glue it. Okay. So first, you just want to make sure that you haven't closed the hole to the point that you're not going to be able to fit the cinnamon stick. You can also just do it like with your finger or your crochet hook. So I'm going to pull it nice and tight. I'm going to work my way around the same I did on the bottom, just going through like a couple random stitches. And then we're going to start to shape the sides. With the larger pumpkin, I do many wraps around. Well, I change it up depending on the look I want. But typically I go 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times around. Okay, so first, let me just lock this guy in one more time. Polyfill. Here. Okay, make sure I still constantly check. So you actually can leave the pumpkin just like that. It's really cute. This is how we're going to shape it. Okay, ready? I go down in between. What you don't want to do is have your yarn crisscrossing like crazy underneath this opening. So I'm going to do the first one this direction. Go down through the middle. So then I'm making sure before I go to the next one, well first let's pull tight a little bit. Oh, cute. So I'm then, instead of doing this and then coming straight across, I'm going to move to the side. This. I cannot stress enough how many times you need to make sure that your cinnamon stick still fits. Okay, gonna come for my third wrap. We're almost done. I don't even know, did I film a 4-hour video? Okay. So cute. Last one. And then you'll have like those little bits of polyfill coming out, but it's okay. We can clean it up later. Check your cinnamon stick again. We're almost done. Okay, there. We did our 4 wraps around. Now we just need to get rid of this tail. Okay, I'm gonna work my way around this one last time, and then I'm gonna go down through. Again, not closing that off. Come out the bottom somewhere. I'm not pulling this last, this is just weaving in the end. This is not for shaping. You have to kind of like find which direction you want him to go. I got this twine at Joann's. I've seen it with ribbon, with raffia, and with just the cinnamon stick, with a regular stick. I need to see pictures of the pumpkins that you make, so please DM me, send me photos, tag me in your posts. I want to see all of your cute little pumpkins and all of the ways you get creative with this. Make sure to message me if you have any questions. Happy pumpkin making!